Passion Struck, 12 Powerful Principles to Unlock Your Purpose and Ignite Your Most Intentional Life by John R. Miles is a dynamic and reflective guide that challenges readers to move beyond autopilot living and create a life driven by purpose, courage, and deliberate choice. Drawing on years of experience as a former Navy officer, Fortune 50 executive, and host of the acclaimed Passion Struck podcast, Miles blends personal stories, psychological insights, and actionable principles into a cohesive narrative about transformation. This book is for anyone feeling disconnected, stuck, or haunted by the sense that they were meant for something more. The book begins with a premise that many people quietly accept a version of life that is less than what they truly desire, not because they lack dreams, but because they've been taught to suppress them. Miles refers to this as the default life, where fear, external expectations, and old conditioning shape our choices. His voice throughout is direct but empathetic. He speaks like someone who has seen both sides of life, the high-performance world of corporate leadership and the dark valleys of disillusionment, and now wants to help others choose with intention. One of the first major principles Miles explores is the necessity of radical self-honesty. He shares a powerful story about a period in his life when, despite outward success, he felt hollow and directionless. It wasn't until he stopped numbing his discomfort and began confronting his truths, about what he wanted, what he feared, and what he was running from, that he could begin real change. This raw moment sets the tone for the rest of the book. Lasting purpose begins with looking inward. Miles emphasizes that finding your passion doesn't mean chasing excitement or glamour. Instead, he defines passion as the internal energy that emerges when your values, actions, and beliefs are aligned. He recounts stories from podcast guests, veterans, artists, entrepreneurs, trauma survivors, who found purpose not in avoiding pain, but by moving through it with clarity and courage. The underlying message is powerful: meaning is forged in motion, not perfection. A recurring theme is agency. Miles argues that many people unknowingly surrender their agency by conforming to what's comfortable, familiar, or socially approved. He tells the story of how he walked away from a high-level executive job, not because it wasn't impressive, but because it was no longer authentic. That act of leaving was terrifying, but it opened space for a life of deeper creativity and service. Through this, he invites the reader to examine their own life scripts, who wrote them, and whether they still apply. One of the most emotionally resonant chapters explores the role of adversity in shaping intentional lives. Miles doesn't romanticize suffering, but he does honor its role in waking us up. He tells the story of his father's health struggles and how witnessing this shaped his views on time and mortality. Rather than avoid pain, he teaches readers how to metabolize it, how to extract insight from hardship and reframe suffering as a potential doorway to transformation. He also explores the importance of habits, not just as tasks to complete, but as rituals that shape identity. Miles writes about micro-moments of bravery, small but consistent actions that train us to think, choose, and behave differently. Whether it's the discipline to get up early, the courage to say no, or the vulnerability to ask for help, these habits become the scaffolding of a purpose-driven life. His advice is clear: transformation is not a single leap, but 1,000 quiet decisions. Throughout the book, Miles challenges common myths about passion, that it must be discovered all at once, that it's only for the lucky or gifted, or that it's supposed to be fun all the time. Instead, he reframes passion as a practice, a set of consistent behaviors rooted in curiosity, resilience, and service. He shares stories of how some people stumbled into their purpose by following what moved them emotionally, even if it made no logical sense at first. One of the most unique aspects of the book is its emphasis on alignment. Miles uses the metaphor of internal resonance to describe the feeling we get when we're in the right place, doing the right work, in the right way. He encourages readers to listen to their inner compass, those quiet signals that something is off or something is calling. He shares moments from his own life when he ignored those signals, and the toll it took on his mental and physical health. Relationships, too, are an essential part of this conversation. Miles writes with clarity about how the people around us can either accelerate or stifle our growth. He reflects on friendships that he outgrew, and how difficult it was to let them go. He also tells stories of mentors and unexpected allies who pushed him forward. His message is simple but essential: your environment matters. If you want to live with purpose, surround yourself with people who challenge and support your evolution. The book doesn't shy away from spiritual reflection, but it does so in a broad and inclusive way. Miles speaks about the importance of meaning, not just personal success, but legacy. What kind of impact do you want to have? What do you want people to remember you for? These questions aren't framed as pressure but as invitations. Living intentionally, for Miles, means living beyond the self, contributing to something larger, whether that's family, community, art, or service. By the later chapters, Miles shifts toward practical integration. He encourages readers to revisit their values and rewrite their narrative. One exercise involves identifying false identities we've taken on, roles we assume to gain approval or avoid rejection. These could be anything from overachiever to peacekeeper. Once named, we are freer to release them. The story becomes ours again. That reclaiming is the heart of intentional living. There's a moment of quiet vulnerability when Miles writes about failure. Not just professional failure, but the emotional and spiritual failure of abandoning ourselves. He tells a story of a time when he numbed his ambition out of fear, choosing comfort over truth. That memory, he says, still burns, but it also fuels his purpose now. It's a reminder that failure isn't the end. It's an invitation to realign. In the final reflections, Miles offers no big promises, only a challenge. He tells the reader that they are already enough to begin. You don't need to change everything tomorrow. You just need to become conscious of your life, one choice at a time. If you feel stuck, lost, or behind, he says, you are exactly where you need to be. The spark of change is already within you. The question is, will you protect it, nurture it, and let it grow into something that matters? Passion Struck is not a feel-good book. It's a wake-up call disguised as encouragement. It's a challenge to stop sleepwalking through life and start living on purpose. Not in some abstract way, but through daily, grounded, courageous action. With rich storytelling, emotional depth, and razor-sharp clarity, John R. Miles delivers a book that doesn't just inspire, it dares you to become.